Hi everybody, Michael Rogers here for the Small Business Association of Michigan, and welcome again to one of our Facebook Live broadcasts. I am so excited to have a show about video broadcasting for small businesses. How meta is that, Cynthia Kay? We're on video.
And we're on Facebook Live.
We're on Facebook Live. As always, be sure and like, share, and leave us a comment. That'll help spread this information out across Facebook. Well, my guest is Cynthia Kay, owner of Cynthia Kay and Company in Grand Rapids, a past chair of the Small Business Association of Michigan, a great West Michigan small business leader.
Thank you.
Cynthia, it's so wonderful to have you here today talking about this topic of video and how it works for small business marketing and communications. So my first question for you is, why video? Why should small businesses think about utilizing video, whether it's live or in all its various manifestations? Why is it so important to successful small businesses?
Well, and this is a topic that I hear a lot on, because I think a lot of small to medium-sized businesses believe that video is something for big companies, or that it's too complicated, or it's too expensive, or something like that. So I don't think we have to look any further, quite frankly, than YouTube to understand that video is everywhere. And it's not just for, as it started out, individuals. It's now for companies. And a lot of my corporate clients have their own YouTube channels. But it goes really beyond that. I think it goes to the point where today people are doing so much on their devices. And a lot of people, frankly, don't want to read. They prefer to have a cell phone, they prefer to have their iPad or their computer and get their information without having to read it. I think the other thing that video does, which is really unique, is that it allows the emotion and the story of a business to come through. And small businesses have such great stories. I mean, I love talking to business owners who just share their story about how they got started and what they do. And I think that comes through when you're telling the story in a way that you just don't get from print.
I think it might be helpful for our viewers to know a little bit about why you're such a credible expert on this. Being a small business owner
I am.
yourself, and also an expert in video. So maybe just a minute here about your background in your company.
Well, I started in broadcasting and spent quite some time in broadcasting, and then opened my own company, which we actually celebrated our 30-year anniversary this last year. And we work with a variety of companies. To be truthful, most of them are large global clients, but we have a lot of small businesses and nonprofits that we also work for. And we're creating the kind of communications that help them promote their businesses.
Well, when it comes to the other universe of small businesses around West Michigan and across the state, one of the things a question I frequently get from small business owners is, why do I need video? I'm a dentist, or I'm a
Sure.
CPA, or maybe a small manufacturer. I mean, at first blush, it doesn't strike me that I'm doing something that is inherently visual, but is video really appropriate for just about any small business operation?
Well, and I think you have to start to think broadly about what are the kinds of pieces that you can produce. So all of us have customers, and there is nothing more powerful than a customer telling someone what a great business you are, or what a great service they got. So if you are a CPA, you are a small business owner that does a service of some sort, whether it's a cleaning service or a home shopping service or a graphic design service, your customer is actually your best advertising. So a short video testimonial from a customer. If you're a dentist or a professional services person and you want to explain to someone your approach to your work, there's nothing more powerful than hearing from the person that provides the service. So that's just two quick examples.
You're watching Facebook Live, presented by the Small Business Association of Michigan. My name is Michael Rogers. My guest, Cynthia Kay, owner of Cynthia Kay and Company in Grand Rapids. If you like what you're seeing, please click like on your Facebook page. Leave a comment, and most importantly, perhaps share it with your Facebook network. Let's talk about the tools that are available to use to get a small business started in video communications.
All right, so I love this story because here I am. I own lots of cameras and lights and edit systems, and we are using one of the simplest tools, right? It's Facebook Live. And so this is just one example of really simple tools. Now, I'm going to be honest with you and say that there are some enhancements you need. If you think you're going to go out with your iPhone and get great audio, you are not. So we have microphones that we are wearing. So there are some simple accessories that you're going to need if you're going to do this. One of the key things is to do your research because these tools are constantly changing. There are always new things coming out. So you're going to want to stay on top of it. I would like to just give a quick promotion if you're okay with that. We actually have created a series that we call Video 101. And if you are wanting to learn how to do it on your own, we'll have the link available for people, but go on and learn a little bit about it. You need to have great video. You're better off to do nothing than to do bad video because that's a reflection on your company.
Yeah, very true, very true. You had mentioned earlier the kinds of things that a small business can do, the kinds of video production. So what are your top recommendations for the kinds of videos that a small business might want to think about doing?
Okay, there's a couple of things. One, I mentioned customer testimonials. I also think it's really important to promote your employees. Doing short little interviews with employees because in a small business, our people are our companies, right? So letting your customers get to know who your people are, that's another option. Demonstration, if there's a product that you have and you can do a short demonstration. Giving someone a quick tour of the facility, that's really impressive because people like to see that. So all of those kinds of things. And then for those of you who are in professional services, even an update. Is there a new regulation that is affecting the business? Is there a new trend? Is there a new tool that you're using? Any of those things in short snippets, and I'm going to make sure people want little short snippets. It doesn't need to be long.
And of course, we're doing this via Facebook Live, but there's other outlets for video. One of which, of course, is YouTube.
Sure. YouTube Vimeo. Vimeo is one that sometimes people will forget. That's another tool. Instagram, social media, Twitter feeds, on your website, sending someone a link to something. All of those things really continue to promote your business. And again, I would caution you, there are times when you should not do video. If you're trying to get out a catalog with complicated specifications or lots of numbers, something that's very, very technical, might not want to wade into that. And I also like to say to people, you need to really think about when should you do it yourself and when do you hire a professional? Because there are things you should definitely consider doing on your own. But just like if you're a small business and you're starting out and you're doing your own books, that's great. As your business gets more complicated, you need an accountant. So with video, you might start small, and then at some point you might need to call in a professional because a professional, frankly, will save you money and will save you time sometimes.
You're watching Facebook Live presented by the Small Business Association of Michigan. My name is Michael Rogers with just a terrific guest, Cynthia Kay, the owner of Cynthia Kay & Company, and we're talking about how and when you can use video to enhance your small business marketing and communications. Please like this show, share it with your network, and leave us a comment that we can respond to either during the show or afterwards. We'll be delighted to do that. Let's dig in a little bit more because I know a lot of small businesses are thinking, you know, how do I decide when I can do this myself, or when do I need to secure the assistance of a professional firm like yours?
Well, and honestly, I think there's a couple of things that you need to look at. First of all, do you have the tools? Because if you have to go buy some of the tools, it may be better for you to go to someone. I think if it is a one location, single camera, you're not moving around a lot, you're doing a training of some sort, a simple production is something you can do. When you start to get multiple interviews and you need to collect B-roll, we call it additional video, you need to add graphics, you want to add some animations or some special effects, that's when it gets really difficult for people to do it on their own. And I have seen people struggle and spend 6 months doing something to try and get something out when we might have accomplished it in 3 to 4 days. And then you think about if you'd had that out there and you were already using it, what kind of business would you have gotten back? So weigh what's the return on the investment. And don't be afraid to ask professionals. If you're looking at something on a website, this is something I always tell people. If you see something on a site that you like, ask what was the cost. Because it may be way out of your price range. And so if you've got a price range and you know what you want to devote, ask someone to show you what does something look like in this price range. Because then I think you get a much better view of, I can afford this, I can't afford that.
I suspect some of our viewers are looking at this, enjoying our show, and thinking, man, the Cynthia Casey is so good at this, but
years of work.
I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm an engineer or I'm a CPA. I can't really do video stuff. That's blocking me from thinking about how to integrate video into my marketing communication.
Well, and honestly, the truth is, it's not easy sometimes to get up in front of a camera. I coach a lot of people. I coach everyday people all the way up to CEOs of global Fortune 100 companies. It is a skill. You can get better. It takes a little practice. And often, if you're going to do something, you might want to train a number of your employees at one time so that you have a number of people who can speak, not just in front of a camera, but in front of customers.
And I'm intrigued by one of the suggestions that you have, because I think most any small business can implement this, and this is to get testimonials from
I love testimonials
from your customers. What are the kinds of things you want to ask them to say, and how do you kind of persuade them that this is something they might want to do?
So there's a kind of a formula that I use. First of all, you want to look for customers that have some name recognition. You want to look for customers who have had some long-term work with you, not just a one-timer, because you want someone who's got some depth of experience. You want people who frankly love to talk about what you did with them. And it's really simple. You ask them to describe their company. You ask them to describe the experience they had, and what did they love about working with you? Why would they recommend you to someone? They don't need to be long, but I personally use both print and video testimonials, and I think there's nothing better.
Cynthia, you and I have been in this business for a long time. I want to briefly return to something you talked about at the beginning of our show, which is what has changed in the media environment really just the last couple of years that makes it so crucial for every small business to think about, how do I integrate video into my marketing communications?
Well, for one thing, I think people need to understand that there are so many channels available. And when I say channels, I'm not talking about TV channels. I'm talking about outlets. And for you not to use them when, frankly, they're free, is that you're missing a huge opportunity. So I think just the proliferation of technology, not just at the desktop, but devices that everyone is using. So those two things are really key. And then the other thing that I think is really critical that you need to think about is that if you're looking at search engines and people are being rewarded, for people clicking on it, when people are looking at a video, they're on your site, they're engaged with you. Don't try to tell them everything, but try to get them to engage with you further. And, it's not going away. Look at, go to sites like eMarketer or any of the other ones, and you will find that every year that video usage is sneaking up, and it simply is not going away. It's a trend you cannot ignore.
Well, Cynthia, we're just about out of time for what has been just a terrific show today.
Thank you, Mike.
Any concluding thoughts?
Well, for one thing, I love the fact that SBAM is doing these kinds of pieces, because it gives all of us with some expertise a chance to connect with people. So I just want to say thanks to SBAM for all of that. But I also think that, it doesn't hurt to just explore this area. I'm certainly open to talking to anyone. If I'm not the right source, I will send people to other places. But don't be closed-minded about it. Don't put that barrier in front of yourself before you've actually researched it.
Well, that just about wraps up today's show with Cynthia Kay, owner of Cynthia Kay & Company in Grand Rapids. This is presented by the Small Business Association of Michigan. Both Cynthia and I are members. It's a great organization. Every small business owner in the state should be a member. To learn more, go to sbam.org. Cynthia, briefly, if our listeners and viewers want to learn more about your company, where do they go?
It's real simple. thinkck.com.
Outstanding. My name is Michael Rogers. If you've enjoyed the show, please like it, share it with your network, or leave us a comment. And with that, Cynthia, thanks again for your participation, and we are concluded.